Hi, welcome to Principal Matters, and I've got with me Dr. Kimber Knight, and she has another long title. I think this is our month for long titles and our month for data and high technology stuff. Tell me your long title.
My title, Jessie, is Director of Performance Management and Instructional Technology.
Okay, and you have been with the district for how long?
17 years.
Wow, and you started out as?
A dyslexia specialist.
Okay, and you got into this technology, performance management stuff?
How?
Yeah, when and
actually,
how?
when I shared a room with an Apple person, and at that time, back in the early 90s, she turned me on to Apple computers, and I just fell in love with them. And before that, I thought I would never like computers. But I'm self-taught, and I learned everything I could about Apple computers and started going to the technology conferences, which I have not missed any of them since the early 90s.
You go to the big ones where
the
they show all the new stuff?
Yes, the big one that's in Austin. And I actually went to an ISTE conference one time, which was a really, really big conference. But I got into the conference, I got into the technology part of it, and then the data just kind of fell in with that. And when I became a title supervisor, we started the item analysis program actually a couple of years before that, but when I got into title, I helped to launch it on the intranet.
When you say item analysis, for us people who are not all into those terminologies, what does that mean?
It's a data disaggregation program for our benchmark testing, our 6 weeks benchmarks, and any type of benchmark testing or diagnostic testing so that teachers can actually look at the results almost immediately and decide where they need to reteach.
Okay. Now, I know it's a big to do about walkthroughs, and I know that's a lot of technology, a lot of performance management. So they tell me that when the walkthrough team goes through, they can show up at a classroom, pull a name of a student, and just see how that student is doing in every area.
Well, actually what we do with the walkthroughs, Jessie, is we go in, and a walkthrough is a snapshot of what's happening in the classroom in a 3-minute space of time.
Okay.
And so what we do is we look at how the teacher is teaching. We make sure that her curriculum is aligned to what she should be teaching, that there is an objective posted somewhere, or that the students know what's going on in the classroom at that time.
Okay.
Because if a student can tell you what's being taught, then hopefully they're grasping what the teacher is teaching. But we can also look at the instructional strategies that are going on in the classroom at that time, and how the students are behaving, how the classroom is managed. And with all of that, we look at that type of atmosphere for the teachers, and from there, that helps us manage discipline, manage professional development for the teacher. Now, we can also, though, pull up a student's data right there.
Okay.
But that's more on the line of looking at the item analysis program. Okay. The walkthrough is more looking at the classroom, the teacher, and what's going on in that snapshot of time. Okay,
with all of this data information you have going on here, you can look at a teacher and say, well, half of her students are not doing well in this particular task.
Exactly.
And then you go in there and then you make sure the teacher's trained to be able to teach that task.
Exactly. What we can do is we can pull up, after a benchmark testing, we can actually pull up, say, a grade level and say a subject area such as math. Say we just took the first 6 weeks tests. So we can look at a math test, and we can pull up the 6th grade math test at a school. And we'll look at all the teachers across the board. We have their passing averages. We have how the students did on each one of the test questions. So we can drill down even as far as the student. But looking at that picture of the teachers in that grade level, we can determine which objectives need to be retaught. And say maybe teacher A didn't do a very good job, or her students didn't do a very good job on several objectives, but yet a teacher in that same grade level did do well on those objectives, then the principal or administrators or even us can make the recommendation that maybe this teacher needs to see how this teacher B taught that objective. And maybe that's where your professional development comes in with the item analysis program. And we look at all of the subgroups and everything, so we can actually target specific subgroups that need to be retaught and everything like that. So we have there's a lot of data that can be gleaned from, and information that can be gleaned from the item analysis program that we have.
So then, with all this new way of, maybe not necessarily new way of teaching, but it had to be some changes that teachers had to go through to get on the same page with you about using data. And
oh, yes.
And was that difficult?
Well, that's what the whole performance management department is about, is helping campuses to be data-driven. And not only to be data-driven, because you can be data-driven but not really know how to use it.
Yeah.
We go in as a department, and the performance management liaisons go in and show them how they can use their item analysis data, their INOVA data, their Eduphoria data. We have all of those repositories of data, and show them you don't just look at the data, you've got to do something with that data.
And so then for the teacher who says, I just want to teach, you tie that, if you want to teach, you can be a better teacher
if
by
you look
using
at the data and use the data. You know, gone are the days where the teacher stood in front of the classroom and just said, this is the content, we'll take a little test, and it's over with, because now we have state accountability, federal accountability. Yeah. And I know it's been around for quite a while, but it's even more so now. So they still have to have that love and art of teaching, science of teaching, but they've got to look at the data.
Well, tell me this. Are there any of those green or black chalkboards still left in the district?
You know, that's funny you say that. I went to a classroom the other day. In the district, we're looking for the most technology integrated classroom. And we're having a contest right now, and we'll have a winner announced pretty soon. But I was visiting all these classrooms, and I had a teacher who actually was writing on the green blackboard again, and even the student said, Miss So-and-so, you're using the white chalk. You really like yellow chalk. And I'm saying, I can't believe she's using chalk. I can't believe she's using a chalkboard. Yeah, because we are using the interactive whiteboards and just plain whiteboards more so than the chalkboards. And in our new schools, we have no chalkboards.
Ah, so that is definitely phasing out.
Phasing out.
Okay. And so I kind of think about the way these new schools are looking and all the improvements that are going on across the district. And we were talking about different kinds of movies and television shows. So for some of the recent shows like Matrix, or if you want to go way back to my day, Star Trek. And then you mentioned, too, that the 2001 Space Odyssey. And if you want to visualize what the classrooms are looking like today, it really is high tech, right?
It is, very.
So you've got these LCD projectors.
We have overhead projectors installed in every classroom. We have interactive tablets, where really what it's like is a wireless mouse. The teacher can walk around anywhere in the classroom. It's either infrared or Bluetooth. The ones that we've purchased lately are infrared, and or actually radio frequency. And they can walk around anywhere in the classroom. They can hand off the interactive tablet to the student. The student can interact right there on the tablet, and it's projected on to the whiteboard.
So you don't really have to go to the board. No. The board comes to you.
No, the board comes to you, exactly. And not only that, we have document cameras, which are actually, you know, if you think about the generic name Elmo, but we don't actually use Elmos. We use another kind. But document cameras, we are using what we call ladybugs, and they are replacing those, the overhead projector that sat in front of the class with the white light, the bulbs that burnt out, and when they burnt out, you couldn't teach.
So, and you can kind of just, if a student has worked out a problem, lay that tablet on the document camera and it projects onto
underneath
the board?
the document camera, and it's what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
You can stick your hand under it, and it's what you see is what you get. Some of the one of the document camera that we do have now is actually records audio and video.
Wow.
So talk about a boon for a teacher who may have jury duty the next week and say, I'm going to record some of my lessons so that the students can actually see me teaching the lesson while the sub is in the classroom. So there's lots of really good things about the document cameras.
And so do they sometimes post these lessons online?
They can. Some of our teachers have websites with their lessons posted. And so what's also good for the students who maybe have modifications or accommodations, maybe they have to have stuff read to them. The teacher can actually record the lesson, and they can send it as a podcast. They could send it to their phone, because we've got kids in second grade that have phones.
They do, and they are good at
it. And they know how to use them. I was in a classroom the other day, and actually the teacher said, yes, the students are teaching me how to use this.
And that's something, too. I don't know if we've gotten to this yet, but this creative way of teaching, have we worked out a way to use the cell phone for all the different possibilities?
We're headed that way. There's a wonderful book out right now, Teaching Digital Natives, because you and I are digital immigrants.
Definitely.
We were not born into this generation, and these kids are actually born with chips in their brains that are programmed to absorb all of this technology. And it's like, you stick an iPad in front of them, and they already know how to use it. They don't have to have lessons, and we sit beside them, and manual, forget that. I mean, I'm telling you, they're born with it. They're programmed that way. And our teachers actually are having to learn this new way of teaching to these digital natives. Good. And it's sometimes a little difficult.
But they're doing it, huh?
They're doing it. They are doing it. Podcasting. I have a couple of teachers using iTouches and iPads in the classroom. It's amazing what we're doing right now.
I'm loving it.
Oh, I am too.
So if you haven't visited a school lately and you want to see what's going on with all this new technology, I encourage you to call the principal and say, hey, I want to check out classroom. Exactly. Yeah. And then too, you've been doing some other things with performance management. You got this big grant from Dale, and how are you utilizing that?
Well, what we're doing is we have 32 performance management liaisons on the campuses. And they are our go-between between the performance management department and the campus. We've trained them on performance management. That was last year. And this year, we have trained them on change management, which change management is a big deal. You know how hard it is for people to change.
Yeah.
And we've actually presented that to the campuses. They've presented to their leadership team, to show them what change is all about. And, you know what change is about, but you kind of really don't know the theory behind it.
Easier said than done.
It is much easier said than done. But if you present this, especially in scenarios, to your leadership team, this happened and this happened, what would we do? What would you do to help facilitate this change? Yeah. So right now, that's what they're doing is the change management training. They're also helping their administrative team to look at the data that we have available. They have all the tools necessary. They've got document cameras. They have projectors. They also have mini laptops.
So now, were they, for example, teachers, were they not doing all this data entry, say 5 years ago?
They were, but not like we are now.
Say if you've got this online grades, you've got to put data in there.
You have to.
Student grades every week. So that's maybe different for some teachers.
It is. And what has happened is with this grant, with the performance management grant, it's created this office, and Dr. Thomas had the vision to put instructional technology and performance management together. And so it just melded. I mean, it has turned into a wonderful department, because you wouldn't think that it would go together, but it does. I can be out there training on technology and still at the same time train on the data management part of it.
Cool.
So it just works together.
So to simplify it for us non-techies, is a grade book the black grade book that would be on the teacher's desk? That's not there anymore.
Pretty much not. We have our grade book is in Teams, and they go online to enter their grades, and because we have the parent self-serve, where the parents can go in and look at their grades, look at their discipline reports, look at their absences, those teachers have to get those grades in a timely manner.
So that'd be redundant to put it in a book and then have to go put it on the computer.
It would be, but there are still those teachers out there that can't get away from that grade book.
I remember that book. Hey, we're going to come back and talk about a little bit more as far as performance management, but I want to hit that one thing I've been eager to ask you about. How's your dad doing?
My dad's great. Yeah. He is great.
So tell the story about how you gave up a kidney, because, I think that is about awesome.
It was probably about 7 years ago. My dad had to go on to dialysis, and, that was kind of actually devastating for us because here's this man who travels all over the country. He's retired, traveled all over the country and played golf every Tuesday and Thursday, and all of a sudden now every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 4:30 in the morning he's having to go in and have dialysis. And so he was tethered to a dialysis machine. And nobody, it was like, I'm going to have dialysis because my kidneys have failed. And I said, well, sure, I got an extra kidney. You can have my kidney. And he said, no, I can't do that. And I said, why? I've got an extra kidney. And he said, well, he wouldn't accept that. And so I just kind of left it alone, and every time he'd bring it up, like at a dinner or something, I'd say, I've got an extra kidney, and it's not even for sale. You can have it. And so finally, he called me one day and said, are you serious? And I said, of course I was serious. I wouldn't say I wasn't. I wouldn't be saying that if I wasn't serious. Well, he took me up on it. We had to go through some testing, a lot of testing actually, and see if he was ready for it, because he had other health problems, and see if I was ready for it, which I was. I was perfectly healthy. I just had to lose a little bit of weight, and I had a goal, so it didn't take me long. And I went in there, and I gave him, they took mine out, and they put it in him, and it turned pink immediately, and it started pumping and working, and it's been 2 years and 10 months, actually almost to the day, and he's great. His kidney is working fine now. So, and I would do it again. I would do it again in a heartbeat if I had another one. Yeah. But I don't.
You only got two, okay.
He did ask for my pancreas at the same time, but I was, I thought maybe I might need that.
Yeah. So, Dad, all right, this is it.
Yeah, but I'm really thankful that I could do it, and I know he is thankful every day that I could.
And I thought about that because I heard a story today about Natalie Cole and her being blessed to get a kidney.
Well, it added at least another 10 years to his life. So he's 73, I think. So or 72. So hopefully it'll add even more than that, because it was a pretty healthy kidney. So
yeah, pretty good. Good. Well, hey, we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about data management and all the wonderful things that you're doing that's new and cutting edge at BISD.
All righty.
All right, stay tuned. I'm Jessie Haynes with Principal Matters and Dr. Kimber Knight. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. I'm Jessie Haynes, your host for Principal Matters, and we are talking with Dr. Kimber Knight, and she's head of this big program called Performance Management and a whole lot of other stuff.
Instructional technology.
Yeah, so, when we think about data, teaching, technology, how do you bring all this together under one umbrella?
Well, luckily, it goes together rather easily. It does, because the data that we're looking at right now is all digital. So we're looking at or most of it, I shouldn't say all of it, most of it is digital data. So we're looking at it on a computer, and the teachers need to know how to utilize the technology that they have, which is the computer, plus all of the tools that will help them to teach and to be better teachers, which like the document cameras, the overhead projectors, the interactive whiteboards, the interactive tablets, all of that, all of those are tools that will help them to teach.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it all kind of melds together.
But at the same time, they've got whatever is needed. That if, as some great philosopher said one time, if the power goes out, if there's not a battery cell working, the solar system is dark, and they can still have to know how to pick up pen, pencil,
That's
paper.
exactly right. They still have to know how to teach. The instructional technology are the tools that will just help them to teach maybe easier or in another way.
Yeah, especially in this age of
exactly.
students knowing all this technology anyway.
And what we like to think what we like to think of, Jessie, is that the technology tools that we do have, we like to think of them as a part of our curriculum, not in addition to. Because if we think of it as in addition to, then it becomes something that, well, I don't have time to integrate that technology right now. But if they think of it as it's a part of the curriculum, it's a part of how I teach, then it doesn't become cumbersome or additional stuff.
You have done like a yeoman's task of getting people to feel and know that and to do that, because
well, I enjoy it.
You've come a long way from
dyslexia specialist to director of data.
Okay, and so what does your boss say? What does Dr. Thomas say about where he wants technology, instructional technology, and data performance management to go next year and 5 years down the road?
Well, I'm hoping with his combination of the department, of the performance management department with the STTE grant, the MSDF grant that we got, putting those two departments together, instructional technology and performance management, his vision is that we're going to be around, that data management, data-driven campuses are where we are, and we have to stay on the cutting edge with the technology, with the data. So I think with his vision of putting the two departments together, that 5 years down the road will be those performance management liaisons will be showing how to use the data on the campuses without any probably instruction from me.
Oh, that would be interesting. And we will definitely, I can't even imagine what the next stage is. If we were already talking about Star Trek kind of a classroom, wow.
Well, the teacher will always be there,
yeah,
but the technology is going to be tools for.
In fact, are we getting to that point where we may have books online and books in the Kindle?
We have a virtual library going on right now at Taylor Career Center.
Cool.
It's Kindle library. We have 35 Kindles with over 200 books on those Kindles, and the students, according to a survey that was given to them last week, 24 out of the 25 students who have used the Kindles for the past 3-4 weeks are loving it. They're reading 2 hours a night, which is unbelievable for teenagers these days.
Yeah, shutting off the TV. Okay, so we may see a day where a student, instead of taking home 40 pounds of books, they're taking home a 6-ounce
Kindle
or something.
Yes, I don't think that's very far away.
Wow. All right, well, we will definitely stay tuned because it seems like a lot of exciting stuff is coming out of your area there. Yeah, I need a computer to keep up with you.
Or an iPad.
An iPad would be great. Okay, Dr. Kimber Knight, thanks a lot for joining us, and we hope to talk to you soon about new developments. My iPad. All right. Hey, come back and join us next week. We're going to talk to somebody else who's got a great principal matter to share with you. I'm Jessie Haynes, your host, and we've been talking to Dr. Kimber Knight.